Holy Spirit, please guide me. I'm in the chronological Bible. It just puts the Bible in a chronological order. So basically all the Gospels are together as one Gospel. One super Gospel, I guess you could say. We're going to go through the transition first. It's called Lord of the Sabbath, because the Lord is over the Sabbath.
Transition time.
Transition times. The Lord of the Sabbath. Basically letting us know what's going on in this timeline. Two events are taking place on the Sabbath day. The plucking grain and Jesus healing a man's hand on the Sabbath have been understood as expressing Jesus' authority over the law of Moses. This concern is certainly expressed in the assertion the Son of Man is Lord even of the Sabbath. Matthew 12:8. But the evangelists have a more primary concern. In both events, Jesus emphasized that keeping the spirit and the intent of the law was more important than strictly abhorring the letter of the ritual requirements.
Chronological Bible.
This point is emphasized by Jesus' questions to those in the synagogues. It is lawful on the Sabbath to do good or to do evil, to save a life or to kill. Jesus is the Lord of the Sabbath. Matthew chapter 12, verse 1 through 14. At that time, Jesus went through the grain field on the Sabbath, and his disciples were hungry and began to pluck the heads of the grain to eat. And when the Pharisees saw it, they said to him, "Look, your disciples are doing what is not lawful to do on the Sabbath." But he said to them, "Have you not read what David did when he was hungry, he and those who were with him? How he entered the house of God and ate the showbread which was not lawful for him to eat, nor for those who were with him, but only for the priest, right? Or have you not read in the law that on the Sabbath the priests in the temple profane the Sabbath and are blameless? And yet I say to you that in this place there is one greater than the temple. But if you had known that what this means, I desire mercy and not sacrifice, you would not have condemned the guiltless. For the Son of Man is the Lord, even on the Sabbath." Healing the man on the Sabbath. Chapter 12, verse 9. Now when he had departed from there, he went into the synagogues. And behold, there was a man who had a withered hand. And they asked him, saying, "Is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath?" That they might accuse him, right? And then he said to them, "What man is there among you who has one sheep, and if it falls into the pit on the Sabbath, will not lay hold of it and lift it out? Or how much more value than a man than a sheep? Therefore it is lawful to do good on the Sabbath." And then he said to the man, "Stretch out your hand." And he stretched it out, and it was restored as whole as the other. And then the Pharisees went out and plotted against him, how they might destroy him. Sabbath keeping. Mark chapter 2, verse 23 through 3 and 6. Now it happened that he went through the grain field on the Sabbath, and as they went, his disciples began to pluck the heads of the grain. And the Pharisees said to him, "Look, why do they do what is not lawful on the Sabbath?" But he said to them, "Have you never read what David did when he was in need of hungry, he and those with him? How he went into the house of God in the days of Abiathar and the high priest, and they ate the showbread, which is not lawful to eat except for the priest, and also gave some to those who were with him." And he said to them, "The Sabbath was made for man, and not man for the Sabbath. Therefore the Son of Man is also the Lord of the Sabbath." Chapter 3, verse 1. And he entered the synagogues again, and a man was there who had a withered hand. And so they watched him closely whether he would heal him on the Sabbath, so they might accuse him. And he said to the man who had the withered hand, "Step forward." And then he said to them, "Is it lawful on the Sabbath to do good or to do evil, to save life or to kill?" But they kept silent. And when he had looked around at them with anger, being grieved by the hardness of their hearts, he said to the man, "Stretch out your hand." And he stretched it out, and his hand was restored as whole as the other. And then the Pharisees went out and immediately plotted with the Herodians against him, how they might destroy him. Sabbath conflicts. Luke chapter 6, verse 1 through 11. Now it happened on the second Sabbath after the first that he went through the grain field, and his disciples plucked the heads of grains and ate them, rubbing them on their hands. And some of the Pharisees said to them, "Why are you doing what is not lawful to do on the Sabbath?" But Jesus answering them said, "Have you not even read this? What David did when he was hungry? He and those who were with him, how he went into the house of God and took and ate the showbread, and also gave some to those who were with him, which is not lawful for anyone but the priest to eat, right?" And he said to them, "The Son of Man also is Lord of the Sabbath." Now it happened on another Sabbath also that he entered the synagogues and taught. And a man was there whose right hand was withered. And so the scribes and the Pharisees watched him closely whether he would heal on the Sabbath, that they might find an accusation against him. But he knew their thoughts and said to the man who had the withered hand, "Arise and stand here." And he arose and stood. Then Jesus said to them, "I will ask you one thing. Is it lawful for the Sabbath to do good or to do evil, to save lives or to destroy?" And when he had looked around at them all, he said to the man, "Stretch out your hand." And he did so, and his hand was restored as whole as the other. But they were filled with rage and discussed with one another what they might do to Jesus. They were ready to break that commandment to hurt Jesus.